What if I told you that if you took the average man's salary and compared it to the salary of a woman doing the same job, the salary gap would be enough to put that woman through 2 semesters of college or pay her medical benefits for a full year? Yes, Virginia, even in 2014, for many companies, the wage gap continues. Hello, everyone. I'm Another View producer, Lisa Godley, sitting in for Barbara Ham-Lee. Today on Another View, we're talking about women in the workforce, and we're looking at one innovative program designed to give women a leg up to a brighter future. Join me and my guests, Debra Dandridge and LaToya Short, as we explore Dress for Success Hampton Roads, plus a tribute to Maya Angelou, right after this news from NPR.
Discussing today's topics from an African American perspective, this is Another View.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Another View producer, Lisa Godley, filling in for Barbara Ham-Lee. Before we get going today with our discussion about women doing some pretty amazing things right here in Hampton Roads, I want to pause for a moment to remember a legend whose life can be described using just one word: amazing. This week, we lost a giant whose words and life have inspired and will continue to inspire generations, Dr. Maya Angelou. For decades, poet Maya Angelou has captivated and inspired us with her words.
The store was my favorite place to be. Alone and empty in the mornings, it looked like an unopened present from a stranger.
On Wednesday, the 86-year-old poet, novelist, actress, and activist passed away at her home in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
I know what the caged bird feels, Army. When the sun is bright on the upland slopes, when the wind blows soft through the springing grass and the river floats like a sheet of glass.
While her literary works made her a household name, Maya Angelou spent her early years studying dance and drama. In the mid-1950s, she toured Europe with the opera production of Porgy and Bess and recorded her first album, Miss Calypso, in 1957.
Mo and Joe run the candy store, telling fortunes behind the door. The cops grabbed Mo, and as Joe ran out, Brother Mo, he began...
Maya never went to college, but Dr. Angelou, as she was affectionately called, has more than 30 honorary degrees, spoke at least 6 languages, and was a newspaper editor in both Egypt and Ghana. Her list of friends is just as impressive, from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to Oprah Winfrey, from Bill Clinton to Barack Obama.
Courage is the most important of all the virtues, because without courage, you can't practice any other virtue consistently. You can't be consistently kind or fair or humane or generous, not without courage.
Maya got into writing following a childhood tragedy. When she was just 7 years old, she was raped by her mother's boyfriend. Maya testified against him, and he was later beaten to death by a mob. Maya said, quote, "My 7.5-year-old logic deduced that my voice had killed him, so I stopped speaking for almost 6 years." When her voice was silenced, her words could not be harnessed, catapulting her from a high school dropout at 14 to a high school graduate at 17, from a waitress to a writer, from a cable car conductor to the recipient of the country's highest civilian honor, the Medal of Freedom.
Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the hope and the dream of the slave. And so, naturally, there I go rising.
There is no doubt that Maya Angelou made her mark, left an amazing legacy, and will truly be missed. Okay, let's change gears for just a minute. As a producer, reporter, and writer, I have always found that helping people visualize something for themselves is much more effective and can really drive a point home. So engage me for a minute. Here's the scenario that I created based on statistics from the Bureau of Labor and the Census Bureau. Okay, 7 women and 1 man. All are 35 years old, all with the same level of education. They arrive at a job site. All are tasked with doing the same job. You've all been working all day very hard. The work is both back-breaking and mentally taxing. Finally, the day ends and the boss brings you your wages. He hands the only man in the group $100. He gives the white female standing next to him $77. He hands the African American woman $64, and the Hispanic woman beside her gets $54. If you're thinking that's not fair, you're not alone. There are huge disparities when you break down salaries among the sexes. In addition to that, women are more likely to be hired for the lower paying jobs. So what's a girl to do? Well, in this tough job market, there's an innovative program designed to help women thrive in work and in life. Joining me to talk about it is the Executive Director of Dress for Success Hampton Roads, Debra Dandridge. Debra, welcome to Another View.
Thank you for having us.
Also joining me here in the studio is a program participant, LaToya Short. LaToya, welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, Debra, I'm going to start with you. Because that whole wage gap, and I'm sure somebody's saying, well, if they have the same education, if they're same age, what causes things like that to happen?
Lisa, there's so many variables. First of all, it depends on the company. It depends on that person who's possibly doing the interview, who's the hiring manager who is trying to get a team together. And so if that person is male, maybe he feels more comfortable hiring a male. If it's a person who has had great experience with men as far as work environments and they're thinking of how a man gets work done or the heavy work, then they may choose to go to that person as well. Overlooking the fact that as women, we seem to, in a lot of different job titles, be more, detail-oriented. A lot of times guys, they go to the bottom line. Okay, what's the end result? What do we need to do? And for the woman, she may do those other details that are going to get her to that point, but maybe not as quick as that guy, like in a couple of seconds. But it's something that can't be regulated because it's really personal for each person that's doing the interviewing. So I think overall, it will remain the same until the person that are doing the hiring are able to kind of think about, we're going to be open and hire those people that are qualified, and the pay should be the same.
Okay.
We're just not there yet.
Now, when a woman walks into Dress for Success Hampton Roads, okay, they already know, or they may soon find out, okay, it's not going to be exactly even because of the wage disparity. But what do you say to them to get them motivated and ready to go and ready to take on?
We really just talk to the woman basically about her personal skills and what her passion is, because that's where you have the most success. Even if it's something that's similar to what you want to do in the long run career-wise, that's something that you should really work on. Nothing is that makes you sadder than to have a job that you absolutely hate. But you have to look within yourself and find out what moves you, what your passion is, and that's where you're going to have the most success in your career.
Okay. I remember, and we were talking about this a little earlier, it was probably about 6 years ago. Another View was on television at the time, and I came over, and I was able to go into the clothes closet and look at all the beautiful suits and the accessories, and there were people there helping women with resumes, and they were doing interview training, and that was 6 years ago, so I'm sure a lot has happened and changed. So what can someone expect now from the program?
The basics are still pretty much the same. It's a friendly environment. We're non-judgmental. We want everyone to feel very comfortable when they come through the doors of Dress for Success. We still do the process of interview coaching, and then we do the suiting piece. We do have some amazing programs. We have our suiting program, which is the first program. We do have our professional women's group, and that's a program that we have. That's consists of those women that have already come through the doors of Dress for Success, and now they're working. So they're professional women. We meet once a month, and we have some pillars of education that we work with them on, because it's really to help them to retain the positions that they've gotten. Work and family balance, financial literacy, because you may have had some period of unemployment. You're now getting paid. It's not really about going out to go shopping. It's really about maybe working on your credit score, and working on your credit that you did not have to pay. You didn't pay because you didn't have the funds. And that financial literacy piece is very important, because background checks now are based on your credit score, housing, just so many things are based on that. And so that's one of the main things that we really talk about, the written and unwritten rules of the workplace. The written rules in the policy book are great. The unwritten rules that you don't know about are usually what will get you terminated. So that's learning that work culture as well. And that family, work and family balance piece, is now you have to balance your work and your family and your children and everyone else's schedule, and making sure that you are doing the best of your ability on the job that you've gotten.
That unwritten, talk to me a little bit about that, because someone may say, well, I was terminated and I'm not even sure why. So go over some of those things that...
Usually it's the culture of where you're working. Something as simple as the steps that you would take if you had a grievance. You wouldn't go to your immediate supervisor first. You would really need to talk to your reporting supervisor if there are any problems with that, and go that route first, except then to go all the way to the top, and then your immediate supervisor finds out that you've had a meeting with their supervisor. That's not going to sit well. So that's the kind of culture thing that we're talking about, and really your workplace communication, being on the computer, not shopping, online shopping while you're on the computer, and checking your emails, especially if it's not written in the policy. You really want to find out about that. You want to make sure that you may be doing that on your break time. I've worked in some call centers as an employee, and some of the people were shopping, maybe doing some gambling, playing the cards and stuff in between calls. And
they probably didn't think anything was wrong with that.
They did not. They did not. But, it's not your computer. It's a business computer, and so you should be doing the business on that.
Okay. LaToya, I keep seeing you nodding your head. Tell me a little bit about how you got involved, how you found out about Dress for Success Hampton Roads.
I found out through a neighbor of mine. I was coming home, getting off of work at 4 something in the afternoon. Got home, my neighbor called me. She's like, hey, I just found out about this wonderful program. Thought you might be interested. It's 8 weeks. She said, if you just dedicate the 8 weeks, you're guaranteed to come out with some valuable information and knowledge to get you where you're trying to go. And I told her, I was like, okay, well, when do I need to sign up? And she told me probably about a week and a half before the class was actually getting ready to start. So I was like, well, do you think I have enough time to, get my information to them? Because she said it was like the classes were limited, or the amount of people were limited. So you had to really get on the ball. And so I'm like, okay, well, just give me a moment. Can I use your computer? And so all in a nutshell, I got an email back and a call from Miss Patricia Easley, and she basically let me know that I was able to come to the first class that started April 1st of this year. And so from April 1st to May 21st, well, extended to the 27th, because that's when our graduation day was, that I fully did that 8 weeks of class.
Now, you have small children.
I do.
And you had a full-time job at the time, right?
Technically, it's part-time, but I was pulling full-time hours. If I did not get the hours at my store, I was calling other stores like, hey, do you need any help? What can I do to get some hours? And basically, bam. So it was kind of like, yes, part-time, but I was making it work.
Okay. So how was it trying to get the classes into your busy life?
Whew. For it being one day out of a week made it easy to work around, because had it been probably several days within that week, it would have been tough for me. I probably would not have made every single class. But because I knew that, bam, every Tuesday we had the class, so every Tuesday I made sure that I scheduled what I needed to as far as daycare. You know, somebody had my back for that 8 weeks, including God, 'cause there was no way, I did not know that I would have been able to fully commit myself that 8 weeks, but
now,
I did.
What were some of the things you learned during that 8-week span that you had no idea that this was something that you needed going into the workworkforce?
One,
or being in the workforce.
Being email etiquette. That was a big thing. Yes,
earlier, yeah.
Email etiquette. Also, just basically dedication, like to what you're going after, like being fully dedicated to it. What else? It was basically learning how to be proper at, you know, when you're going into an interview, basically learning how to talk, you know, versus shouting, or, you know, learning the levels of voice. That's what I called it. My biggest thing that I was very, very pleased with was the mock interview, like to prepare you to going into an interview. You actually were able to come out with knowing how to talk, knowing how to answer questions, knowing what to ask, you know, when you're interviewing people, well, with a person. And that was my key. That was my I guess my key to that open door for my success.
And you're about to start a new job.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about it.
I had an interview with Walmart. They had several interviews for different stores, but I particularly interviewed for one location, and all I can say is I thank God for that mock interview, because 3 out of maybe the 6 questions that were asked in the mock interview were asked in the interview,
great.
Which helped me get that job.
Wow. You're grinning. I know you're excited about it, right?
It's a big step from where I'm at to where I'm going. So.
Wonderful. That is fabulous. Debra, you mentioned something that I thought was very interesting, particularly in this day and time, and when it comes to younger women. Because LaToya, you're 27, but I've seen with women even younger, attire. What you wear when you go into a job interview. And I've seen people go into job interviews, and I'm thinking in the back of my mind, no, you didn't wear that to this interview. But it happens.
It does happen, Lisa, and a lot of times they just don't know. You know, perhaps in their lives, they've just not had the opportunity to do a lot of interviewing, and maybe someone else in their surrounding has not. Clothes is a very emotional thing, even though we don't think about it that way. We know when we get up in the morning, pretty much what we're going to put on is usually about our emotion and how we feel. We know when we want to be sexy, we know what to put on. If we are going to an affair that's dancing or something, we know what we're going to put on. We know what we're going to put on if we're going to be cleaning the house, you know, on a Saturday. We know what we're going to be putting on if we're going to lounge. But we really don't know what we're going to put on when we're going to go on a job interview. And, you know, I learned a long time ago, you're going to dress for the job that you eventually want, whatever that is, whether you want to be a CEO of a company or run your own business. We are also judged by what we have on and what we wear. And usually a jacket is that one simple piece that is going to bring everything together and also help change your mindset or feeling for that particular day. I don't know how professional you can feel with a pair of sweatpants on and a T-shirt, but if you have on a pair of slacks and a blouse and you put on a jacket, you're going to sit better, speak better, and just feel better.
Now, I remember in college and in graduate school, it was always when you go on the job interview, you need a dark suit, you need a white shirt or a cream shirt. And I know that has changed a lot. What do you just go with what looks best on women when they come in?
We try to match it to their personality, because a lot of times the person may not have had on a suit before, or they may not have had on a suit in a while. And so we try to, when they come to the boutique, to offer them to put on 2 things, and then they get to choose one. A lot of times we've kind of been doing this a while, so I don't know. I just feel, if I see this suit, I may suggest it. We try not to give our opinion, with the two suits because we want it to be their choice, right. Because they are the ones that have to wear it. But usually we're pretty spot on, And sometimes they're a little bit hesitant, and we may say, try it on. You just got to see yourself in the mirror. And then when they see themselves in the mirror, either they forgot what they look like in a suit, or they didn't realize how great they would look in the suit. And it does not have to always be a matching suit. It could be separates, but with a jacket. I'm always the thing about a jacket, because people just perceive you differently. Right. With a jacket, it kind of brings you back into that business attire. And you accessorize with that? Yes, we accessorize. We have some great partners, but we're able to give shoes, which is our shortage, larger size shoes. But we have had an organization that came into Hampton Roads last year for their national convention, and they asked us beforehand, what do we truly need? And we said shoes. And so they said, well, it'll be easier for someone to maybe just give gift cards. And they gave us about $900 in gift cards and cash and shoes. And so we've been able to give the ladies gift cards for shoes if we don't have their size. We have a national partnership through Dress for Success Worldwide with Hanes, so we give them hosiery. We recently got this wonderful donation through this company out of New York, and they are intimate apparel, bras, and shapers, and blouses, and so they get the gamut of everything. We do have a national promotion or a sponsorship with Leah Sophia Jewelry, and last year they donated about $4 million worth of jewelry to all of the Dress for Successes in the United States, and so the women are able to get jewelry as well. So when you hand them the gift card for the shoes, do you say we suggest you buy pumps, or? We suggest that they buy something of comfort. Most of them already know, there's a lot of them, I can't wear the high heels, So the great thing about that is they get to actually go in and choose what they want to choose. We do remind them that they should not be red stilettos and green and all those colors. But they should be a shoe that's comfortable, which is usually a neutral color, black, tan, brown, kind of thing, a peep toe, but not a full open toe, and it can be a sling. Okay, all right. What was it like when you first went in and tried on your suit or coordinate? It was interesting because I had my two wonderful children in tote. Uh-huh. So as difficult in my mind as I thought it was going to be, they made me feel so comfortable with it, because my daughter, she did not want to be put down and watched by no one. Uh-huh. And my son, he was just having a blast. Your daughter's a 9-month-old, yes, right? Okay. And so we were in there. I had her in my left arm while I'm trying on the pants with my right arm, trying to put on everything. And she's telling me, this suit, maybe this jacket, we'll go with this one. I'm just trying on different pieces till I finally got to that one. And she said, that's it. You look great. And then when I looked in that mirror, I just told myself, I was like, this is it. I think I'm going to go somewhere. This is the suit that's going to get me that job. Right. Okay. Now, if you're just joining us, we're talking about Dress for Success Hampton Roads, an innovative program designed to give women a leg up in the workforce. I'm Lisa Godley, filling in for Barbara Ham-Lee. I'm joined by Debra Dandridge, the Executive Director of Dress for Success Hampton Roads, and LaToya Short, a program participant. If you have questions for our guest or would like to share your thoughts or suggestions or strategies for women competing in today's job market, just give us a call at 440-2665 or 1-800-940-2240. Now, Deborah, when I was going through the website looking at things, I saw SOS. SOS sounds like help me. So what is SOS? SOS stands for Send One Suit. It's a promotion that we have been having with Dress Barn for about 10 years. And it's a Send One Suit weekend where the general public would take their suits and drop them off at any of the local Dress Barn stores, and Dress Barn would package them up, no expenses to us, and ship them to Just for Success. And when we open those boxes, it's always a surprise at the kinds of clothing that we would be getting. Well, that's what the SOS stands for. Send One Suit.
Yeah, I saw some beautiful suits when I
Yeah,
was,
absolutely.
when I was
The
in
general
there.
public has always been so generous in donating their things. You know, some of the women have lost weight, some of the women have gained weight, you know, and so, or they just want to give that suit because now they want to kind of buy some new things. But the suit is in great condition. We do have a great partnership with Zoots Cleaners. They can't clean every piece that we get. So, because the majority of the people now are really, you know, getting them dry cleaned.
Right.
And we don't have to worry about that. But they dry clean as many pieces as they can at no cost to us. And that's been a tremendous sponsorship and partnership with them.
That's wonderful. Now, I have a question for you about resumes. What's the biggest mistake someone makes when they're putting their resume together?
Well, now the newest trend is no objective. Most of the people, you know, now you can put your work experience at the top, but that line of I want to obtain a job so that I can use my skills is really, you know, they want you to be more definite now as to listing what your history is and what your skill set is, as opposed to that objective, because they kind of know you want to get a job. That's why you're looking for one.
So when should you knock things off, for example? I mean, should you stop at, you know, because I've seen resumes with high school. Is it depending on how old the person is or what?
Well, now you don't really want to date yourself as far as age. And so instead of saying I have 35 years or 25 years of experience, you just want to say I have extensive experience.
Extensive. That's a good word.
Extensive. And, you know, when you're listing your education, you don't necessarily have to put the year up there anymore because everybody can do the math.
Right.
And sometimes, you know, unbeknownst to the person who has the information on their resume, you know, they may think, well, she's too old. She's in her 50s. She's in her 60s. We're not going to hire her. So you have to really reinvent yourself, depending on your age, and being more open about that.
Okay. All righty. Let's take a call. Christina joins us from Hampton. Christina, thank you for calling Another View.
Hi, I wanted to call to make some comments for the listeners about, I'm a small business owner, and one of the things that I look for when I'm hiring somebody is their willingness to say that they want to be part of a team and that they actually want the company to succeed. Many times when you go into a retail outfit, you can tell when somebody is working there or when somebody is part of the team. And I think there's a big difference, and I think that people who are applying for jobs need to know that. The better the business does, the more money they make, the better the image of the business is, the better you make the business look. All comes back to you, your ability to get raises or your ability to advance. And so I think a lot of people are looking for a job, but they need to realize that the people who are employing them are looking for a helper.
That's good. That's good
That's
information.
good.
Thank you
Yes.
so much, Christina. We certainly appreciate your call.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense.
It does, because, you know, that small business, you know, as she said, you know, she's looking for a great team, and you have to, even when you're in an interview and we're doing the interview coaching, it's, you know, we're telling them, you know, you have to be able to say whether you know, you're open to training, you are open to being on a team, you are a leader, but you're a great team player as well. You got to be listening and talking about all of that, because that's relevant, because that small business person doesn't have the time or maybe to do 900 interviews like maybe a larger brand. And so she wants to make sure he or she that they're getting the best person possible that's the best fit for their team.
Wow. Now, we were talking a few moments ago before we took Christina's call about resumes.
Right.
Now, LaToya, did you have a resume before you went into this program, or how did you update it, or what did you change?
I had a resume, but it was so outdated. And what I managed to know and learn to change was how you word things on your resume to stand out. And one of the things was like when you're explaining what you've done or it was specific skills, and like instead of saying, oh, I managed, 2 people in a company or something of that nature, you could word it in a sense to say, I've managed over 200 and plus people and made sure that the daily job was attended to or the work was done or it was completed. And like that's the main thing, because they want to see, okay, well, how did you do, or what did you do to, I guess, grow the company. Exactly.
Okay.
And like that was a big eye opener for me, because I'm like, I never thought to say, oh, well, I put in over 500 plus hours of volunteering,
And that
versus
sounds
just
very
saying
impressive.
I volunteer. Exactly.
Yes.
So
Very impressive.
it was
Yeah, volunteering is work experience.
exactly.
And if there is anyone listening that has had a period of unemployment, volunteer.
Yes.
There are a lot of wonderful organizations out here that need your time and your expertise to help them move along. I know as a nonprofit, as Just for Success Hampton Roads, we don't have a huge budget for a lot of staff. And so we do our day-to-day through maybe volunteers and interns, which has been saving grace for us.
Now, I notice you also have mentorships. And do you immediately pair somebody with somebody, or do they sort of come to you and ask for a mentor? How does that work?
In our one program that we have, our Going Places Network, which is funded by Walmart as well, we do have peer mentors. That's a longer program, which is 12 weeks. And we talk about personal action goals, and we have peers to help them. And it's pretty much about encouraging, because it's really about the commitment, whether it's 8 weeks, whether it's 12 weeks. Right. It's real about committing to that, because you want to gain employment and you're going to be wanting to stay a long time. So it's really making that commitment, and these peer mentors help them with that. Any kind of questions that you have, they check up on them, making sure that they are getting the information that they need, per the program and all of that. So the mentoring, we've had some great mentors, and some of them that were in the program previously.
Okay.
Someone like LaToya would be a great mentor, because she's gone through the program. And her time does not necessarily physically have to be there, because you can email the person or talk to them on the phone as well.
Okay. Do you have a specific mentor, LaToya?
Well, I can honestly say I do have Miss Patricia Easley. She contacts us throughout, on a daily basis, just to kind of see where we're at and how we're doing. And it's nice to know that even though we finished the program, that they're still putting themselves out there to be around, to make sure that we're still, giving us a little bit more motivation that we didn't have before that day that they called, and just kind of keeping us, level-headed a little bit. And like, I appreciate that, because, on those days when I've gotten off of work and, I've done all I can do with my children, and then someone calls in and just says, hey, I just want to see how you're doing, where you at, is everything okay, do you need anything, or is there something that I can help you with? And she's very good about doing that. And that's something that I don't get to tell her on a daily basis, but I would like to let her know that if she's listening. Thank you, Patricia.
The one great thing about that, though, is that once you come through a program of Just for Success, you're part of the family.
Right.
And so we want to make sure that it's long term. That if you have any questions, and sometimes the people go through the program, they may not get employed right away.
Right.
So, we want to keep up with them 30, 60, 90 days out. And if they still haven't gotten employed, then maybe bring them back in to find out maybe something that they were doing could be changed and find out what their issue is, if there is one.
Debra, what's the most common mistake that people make when they're going out into the job market?
Aside from not being dressed properly, is really not researching the company and knowing what the company, is about and all of that. Because, you can have that one question, what do you know about my company? And then there's dead silence. And another mistake may be over-talking that person that's doing the interviewing, It's okay to have some silence after you've answered the question, because now this person may be, putting that information down or just absorbing it a little bit more and not just feeling as though you just got to talk the whole time that you're before this person.
And that's funny that you should mention that, because Barbara is great when we bring the intern candidates in to work here. One of the first things she asked, have you ever listened to Another View? Are you familiar with NPR? And sometimes the looks over their faces just go completely blank, like,
And it's like, wow.
And she'll tell them, you go back out, listen. This is how you listen. Listen to the show. This is where you go, the website, whatever. Listen to some episodes. Listen to NPR. Get a feel for it. See if this is a fit for you even.
Absolutely, because you want to go somewhere to work and you don't know what they do. You're just putting in applications,
right.
And there's not a sincerity there that I really want to work for this company.
Right.
You have to put in the work.
And I say confidence being number one thing. If you don't have confidence in yourself to say, hey, I'm able to get this position based off of just you being yourself and you knowing what you know throughout what you've experienced to be willing enough to apply for that job, then why do you think they would want to hire you? Because confidence is a big factor in that, just knowing that you can do something. If you put your foot forward to go and get that interview, why not make sure they know that you're dedicated for that job? Confidence.
That's a good word.
Confidence is very important, and it comes out in body language and all of that, but really believing in yourself. And sometimes you can be down on yourself, but you really got to believe that you're worthy of whatever it is that you want, and how bad do you want it. Okay. The main thing is enough work is not put in, and you have to put in the work. No one's going to knock on your door and say, we have a job for you. You got to really go out and search it. And one other statistic, Lisa, over 53% of the people that get hired, they have gone into the building. A lot of people are under the impression that they sit in the house all day and put in applications. That online is just a place for the application to be, because it's saved trees and you don't have to have thousands of file cabinets with applications. So my suggestion to everyone is that you decide what you want to do. If you know that you want to be a medical assistant, I would go to the medical building and start at the top and work my way down to all of the offices and go in and say, hello, my name is.
Right.
And have all of your information, because no one is sitting at a particular job looking online and reading resumes. They're just not doing that.
Okay. Let's take a call. Nikki from Williamsburg. Nikki, thank you for calling Another View.
Oh, hi. Thanks for taking my call. Yeah, I just wanted to say I interview a lot of people. I own a small nanny placement agency. And recently I just interviewed a great candidate. She was well presented. She spoke nicely. But the whole way through she was chewing yellow gum. And I could see it. It was very distracting. And I want to sort of encourage employers to provide feedback to people that interview. After I'd met her, I really liked her, and I called her and I said, look, I liked you, you looked great, you sounded good, but you were chewing gum all the way through, and I just, that's not really sort of something you want to do in an interview. And she appreciated it, and I just think, if more employers did that, it would just help everyone all round, really.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I rarely hear people say they got feedback. I didn't get the job, and I rarely hear someone say, this is why they told me that I didn't get the job, and I know that would be helpful. Thank you so much, Nikki. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, ladies, I want you to get your contact information out there, because thank you so much for being here today, and I want to get your contact information out there so people can contact Dress for Success Hampton Roads.
Our phone number, which is the easiest, is 757-961-7148. Our email address is hamptonroads with an S at dress, DRESSFOR,
Wonderful. Okay. All right. Now, if you need some tips, you want to find out some things, you want to contact Debra Dandridge, you want to get involved with Dress for Success, that is how you do it. And we will also have some information for you on the Another View website. Now, I want to take a few minutes and transition the conversation from work to play. Coming up next weekend is the first annual Prostate Cancer Awareness Girls Basketball Tournament. And I love the title of this event, Daughters Saving Daddies. And joining me now on the phone is the tournament coordinator, Mary Jennings. Hello, Mary. Thank you for joining us.
Hello. Good afternoon.
This is such a neat idea. How did Daughters Saving Daddies come about?
Well, my at the time 11-year-old daughter Jessica, I'm in the pharmaceutical industry, and I sell a drug that's indicated for prostate cancer. And she came to me one day after having a conversation about it and seeing some commercials, and she said, Mom, there's a lot of information about breast cancer. There's just not much on the TV about prostate cancer. What about dads? And I said, you make a good point. And I said, well, I guess we need to find something to do about that. Well, she is an avid basketball player and has been for about 6 years. So as I said, she was 11 at the time. And she went in her room last summer, and she came up with Daughters Saving Daddies. And she talked about the fact that, you already call on physicians who treat prostate cancer so they can come in and talk to everybody about it, and we can raise money, and we can have a foul shot contest for the daddies. And she just had all these ideas. And as a mom, you can only get excited when your child gets excited about doing some community service. And I thought, well, let me see what I can do to make this happen. And sure enough, a year later, it's actually happening.
Wow. Now, who's going to be playing in this tournament?
Well, what we've done is I'm collaborating. So I'm with the United Sports Academy, which is the team in which Jessica's involved with, and Coach Melvin Perry, who has done a lot for our organization. He is the director and the founder, and he had a vision to have a community team. And he has gotten about, I want to say maybe 7 or 8 different teams, might be, and they're different ages, between the grades of 3rd to 12th grade. And we have teams from Northern Virginia. We have teams from the Hampton Roads area. Almost every city is represented except for maybe 2. And then we have some from North Carolina that will be participating. So they're all girls teams, and they're between the ages of 3rd grade and 12th grade.
Wow. Okay. And so if somebody wants to get involved in this, what do we need to do?
So if you want to get involved, the best way is to contact me via email. It would be unitedsportsacademy.va@gmail.com, or you can contact me on my cell phone at 201-574-3822.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your information with us. We really appreciate that.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing as many people out there as we can. As I said, prostate cancer is a huge epidemic in the Hampton Roads area, specifically in Portsmouth, which has the highest mortality rate in the country almost.
That's right.
And so we're trying to do our part to raise awareness, but at the same time, we want to have a little fun with some basketball. So Father's Day weekend is coming up June 14th through the 15th. So anyone that's interested in coming, please give me a call.
Wonderful. That is exactly what we're going to do. Thank you so much, Mary Jennings. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All righty. Now, as we mentioned at the beginning of the program, we talked about losing a giant, and we were talking about Maya Angelou. Now, if you have a Maya quote that you love, or something that she has written or said that has changed your life or made an impact in your life, we'd love to hear from you. Our numbers are 440-2665 or 1-800-940-2240. And because we're talking about some amazing women here today, we're going to listen to Maya recite Phenomenal Woman.
Many people wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size. When I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenally. I walk into a room just as cool as you please, and to a man the fellows stand or fall down on their knees. Then they swarm around me, a hive of honeybees. I say, it's the fire in my eyes, the flash of my teeth, the swing in my waist, the joy in my feet. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Men themselves have wondered what they see in me. They try so much, but they can't touch my inner mystery. When I try to show them, they say they still can't see. I say, it's in the arch of my back, the sun of my smile, the ride of my breasts, the grace of my style. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud. I say, it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palms of my hands, the need for my care. Because I'm a woman, phenomenally, phenomenal woman. All you women and me.
It's got to make you feel good. I'm telling you, ladies.
It does.
Beautiful.
It does. Absolutely beautiful.
I'm a woman phenomenally.
Do you all have a favorite Maya Angelou poem or moment?
I think when I'm a big fan. I have about 3 or 4 of her books, but I think out of everything that I've gotten from her is that the past that we have doesn't matter. She, started her life as a young girl with such trauma and, and all of the things that she did. And in the end, she, over 30 some honorary degrees, and she's spoken at 2 inaugural addresses. And so what I want for everybody else that's listening is we can overcome our past. We can overcome our past and do some phenomenal things. And she is a perfectly good example at how she lived her life and how she's helped others. And I know sometimes with the women that come through the doors of Dress for Success, they have had bumps in the road, and part of it is their past, and telling them to, forgive yourself and move on, because we're all destined for great things.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, that whole aspect of that. Is there counseling that comes in? Because I am sure you have women that come in and say, I can't do this.
Because we do have partnerships, we kind of refer them to other agencies that are able to handle the counseling part of it, because we can't do everything. No agency does, and so that's what we try to do, keep up our resource list so that we can kind of refer them to other people if it's that deep. But a lot of times in the course of 8 weeks or 12 weeks, and they get to interact with other women and feel so different, that at graduation they don't even look the same, because they feel so much more about themselves and finish something that they started.
Okay, LaToya?
That poem alone has put me in a different mindset, but just something similar to what she went through. I've gone through something similar, and I've also had to grow up being raised by a system standard foster care. And if I did not have some of the women in my life who I still associate myself with to this day, I don't think that I would have made it as far as I am right now. And so Stephanie Powell, that was one of my foster mothers. She's a beautiful woman. She still to this day, Cordy Martin, that is a daycare provider for my children, who was also a foster parent to me. And those 2 women are still in my life today. And like I said, with the words that Maya Angelou spoke onto her passing, like I said, that should be a motivation for all women, what they've gone through, to just know that you can make it if you keep trying.
Absolutely. If you have something that Maya Angelou did that inspired you or moved you, give us a call, 440-2665 or 1-800-940-2240. Carol joins us from Hampton. Carol, thank you for joining Another View.
Well, you're welcome. I am 67 years old, and to celebrate my husband's and my best friend from high school's birthday when we were 60, and Maya Angelou was coming to speak at the Chrysler, my friend flew down from where she lives in Northern Virginia, and we went and sat in the first row. And I'm even getting goosebumps right at this moment. I can't remember specifically. I just remember every single word was just so absolutely inspiring. And I, as a former English teacher, just clung to the words, just how she put the words together and the perfect grammar. And what came back to me just as you played what she had written just a moment ago, her voice, just hearing her voice, it was just an overwhelming experience for us.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Carol. That's really sweet. Thank you so much for sharing that. Holly now joins us from Virginia Beach. Holly? Holly, are you there?
I am here, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, first of all, I'm coming to this show late, but I wanted to mention an interview I heard with her with Maya Angelou, where she had talked about an incident where her home had been broken into while she was in it. Wow. She was in bed at the time, and she heard someone entering the house. She was upstairs in the bedroom, and she always slept with a gun nearby. And as they were coming into the room, she says in her very rich, deep voice, "You have to ask yourself, are you ready to die tonight?" And that person just took off. And, it just spoke to me of the strength and eloquence and calmness of this woman, that no one was going to mess with her in her own home, especially.
Holly, thank you so much for sharing that, because I can just hear her voice and hear her saying that to someone. Thank you so much for sharing that with us today. Thank you for calling. Ooh, ladies, it has been a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Now, if you haven't already, please sign up for our eView newsletter. Now, that's a once-a-week reminder of what's coming up on Another View. Thank you for spending your noonday hour with us. We really appreciate that. For producer Danny Epperson, who so graciously agreed to fill in for me today. Audio engineer Victor Bowen. Thank you, Victor, for helping me put that Maya Angelou piece together. I really appreciate it. Denise Norris, who answered our calls. Our graduated intern who came back to help today. Another phenomenal woman. Thank you, Denise. I'm Lisa Godley. Barbara will be back next week, and we will get together again for Another View.